The wine glasses clinked as I arranged them around my dining room table, each one a potential weapon my family would use to crucify my dreams. Again. But tonight would be different. It had to be. I'm Peyton, and at 32, I was about to serve up more than just the lasagna my mother taught me to make. I was finally ready to announce my tech startup plans to my family. Need any help, sweetie? Aunt Erin poked her head into the kitchen, her kind eyes crinkling at the corners. She was always the first to arrive, the only one who ever offered to help. I'm good, thanks. I wiped my sweaty palms on my apron. Though maybe some liquid courage wouldn't hurt. The doorbell rang and my stomach dropped. Showtime. Tegan swept in first, designer handbag swinging, followed by my cousin Bryce and the rest of the family parade. My sister's perfectly manicured hand reached out to pat my cheek. Still living in this cute little rental, I see. I bit my tongue and forced a smile. The condescension in her voice was nothing new. Dinner started smoothly enough. I'd timed everything perfectly. The pasta was al dente, the sauce rich with herbs, the bread still warm. Maybe the perfect meal would soften them up. I waited until everyone had wine in hand before clearing my throat. I have an announcement to make. The conversations died down. 8 pairs of eyes turned to me. I'm launching a tech startup. It's an AI-driven platform that helps small businesses optimize their... Tegan's laugh cut through the air like a knife. Oh, honey! Not another one of your schemes. It's not a scheme, I said, gripping my wine glass tighter. I've done the research. I have a business plan. Remember her organic cookie business? Bryce chimed in, smirking. Or that social media consulting thing? This is different, I insisted, but they were already talking over me. Sweetie, Tegan leaned forward, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. You're good at your little marketing job. Why not focus on that? Leave the tech stuff to people who actually understand it. The room spun slightly as their laughter echoed off the walls. Even Aunt Erin just stared at her plate, silent as always. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You know what? Keep laughing. In fact, I want you to remember exactly how funny you think this is right now, because one day you'll all be choking on those laughs. The room fell silent. Tegan's perfectly plucked eyebrows shot up. Peyton, she started, but I was already gathering plates. Dinner's over. You can all leave now. As I watched them file out, whispering among themselves, something hardened inside me. Their mockery wasn't going to be the end of my story. It was going to be the beginning of their regret. 3 months after the dinner disaster, I sat in my 10th investor meeting of the week, clutching my laptop like a lifeline. The man across the table hadn't looked up from his phone once. So, let me get this straight, he finally said. You have no tech background, no major funding, and your last ventures were... He checked his notes. Cookies and social media? I forced myself to sit straighter. I have a solid understanding of the market needs and... Pass. He stood up, already reaching for his coat. Try Kickstarter. The coffee shop door chimed as he left, and I dropped my head to the table. My savings were dwindling, and I'd maxed out my credit cards funding the initial development. Tegan's mocking laughter echoed in my head. Rough meeting. I looked up to find a man in a well-fitted suit watching me with curious eyes. He gestured to the empty chair. Mind if I join? I couldn't help overhearing. Sure, I sighed. Though if you're here to tell me to give up, save your breath. He smiled, extending his hand. Alejandro. And actually I'm here because you just pitched to my colleague, and he's an idiot. My eyes widened. You're with Vertex Capital. Show me your prototype. I opened my laptop, hands trembling slightly. It's still in development, but the AI algorithm can analyze small business operations and identify efficiency gaps that... Stop! Alejandro held up his hand. Show me, don't tell me. For the next 30 minutes, I demonstrated the platform. Alejandro asked sharp questions, pointed out flaws I hadn't considered, and surprisingly offered solutions. You need a technical co-founder, he said finally, and about 6 months of intensive development. But there's something here. My phone buzzed. A text from Tegan. Mum wants to know if you're still coming to Sunday dinner or if you're too busy playing entrepreneur. I ignored it. What's the catch? No catch. I'm offering to mentor you, make some introductions. The catch is it's going to be harder than anything you've done before. Most people quit. I won't, I said firmly. I can't. He studied me for a moment. This isn't just about the business, is it? Does it matter? Actually, it does. He pulled out a business card. The best founders I know are the ones with something to prove. Call my office tomorrow. We'll set up a proper meeting. As I watched him leave, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Aunt Erin. Hope you're okay, sweetie. Don't let them get to you. I smiled, tucking Alejandro's cards safely in my wallet. They weren't getting to me anymore. They were motivating me. 6 months of sleepless nights and endless coding sessions had transformed my prototype into something real. I stood in Alejandro's office, watching his face as he tested the latest version. The interface is smoother, he noted, clicking through the dashboard. Response time is better too. But, I could hear it coming in his tone. But CompTech launched something similar last week. Their market share could... My phone rang, interrupting him. Tegan's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call. Third time today, I explained. Ever since the local tech blog mentioned us, my family's suddenly interested in reconnecting. Alejandro leaned back in his chair. And I'm not ready to... My phone buzzed again. This time it was Bryce. Hey, cuz! Long time no talk. Listen, I've got some great investment opportunities I'd love to discuss. I ended the call. See what I mean? Focus on the competition, not your family, Alejandro said firmly. CompTech has resources, but their solution is generic. Yours is personalized. Show me the new AI feature. I pulled up the demo, but before I could start, his office door burst open. A young developer rushed in, face flushed. Sir, CompTech just announced their partnership with Microsoft. Their stock is soaring. My stomach dropped. The room suddenly felt too small, too hot. Thank you, Marcus, Alejandro said calmly. Please close the door. I slumped into a chair. That's it. We're done before we even launched. Are you? Alejandro's voice was sharp. Because the Peyton who walked into my coffee shop 6 months ago wouldn't say that. That Peyton was naive. That Peyton had fire. He stood up, pacing. You know what CompTech doesn't have? Real small business experience. Their team is all corporate tech bros who've never run a corner store or worried about making payroll. I straightened up. He was right. You've spent months talking to actual business owners, he continued. Your algorithm understands their real problems, not just theoretical ones. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Aunt Erin. Saw the article, honey. So proud of you. Something clicked in my mind. We need to pivot, I said, standing up. Focus on specialized markets first. Small restaurants, boutiques, family businesses, places where personal touch matters more than corporate efficiency. Alejandro smiled. Now there's the Peyton I know. Get your team on it. We're not losing this fight. As I headed for the door, he called out, Oh, and Peyton, when you do finally face your family, make sure it's on your terms, not theirs. I nodded, already mentally redesigning our strategy. CompTech might have Microsoft, but I had something better, something to prove. The server room alarm blared at 3 a.m., jolting me awake. My phone exploded with notifications. System crash, data corruption, backup failure. Everything we'd built was falling apart. Talk to me, I demanded, rushing into the office, still wearing my pajamas under my coat. My lead developer, Marcus, looked like he hadn't slept in days. Someone breached our security, he said, fingers flying over his keyboard. They're trying to corrupt our core algorithm. CompTech can't prove it, but the attack pattern matches their style. I grabbed my phone to call Alejandro, but before I could dial, another alarm sounded. Our main client database was being targeted. No, 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 Marcus muttered, typing frantically. They're going after the restaurant data first. My hands shook as I watched 3 months of work unraveling. The small businesses who'd trusted us, who'd shared their data, we were letting them all down. My phone rang. Tegan. Of course she'd call now. Little sister. Just saw your company's stock taking a dive. Everything okay? I ended the call without answering. Seconds later, a text. Just trying to help. Mum's worried about you. Marcus, how bad is it? He wouldn't meet my eyes. We're looking at a complete system rebuild. 2, maybe 3 months of work, and that's assuming… Assuming what? Assuming our clients stick around that long. I sank into a chair. The fluorescent light suddenly too bright. We'd invested everything. My savings, Alejandro's reputation, our developers' time. One attack, and it was all crumbling. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Erin. Remember when you were 10 and fell off your bike? You got right back up. You always do. The memory hit hard. I'd been racing Tegan, trying to prove I could keep up. The fall had left a scar on my knee that I still had. Marcus, what if we don't rebuild? He looked up, confused. What? What if we build something completely new instead? Something they won't expect? Peyton, we don't have the resources. Call everyone in, I interrupted, already dialing Alejandro. I don't care what time it is, we're not going down like this. When Alejandro answered, his voice was groggy. This better be good. How do you feel about betting everything on a crazy idea? There was a pause, then a chuckle. Those are my favourite kind of bets. Give me 20 minutes. I hung up and looked at Marcus. Order coffee. Lots of it. We're not leaving until we have a new plan. He nodded, a slight smile forming. You know this could ruin us completely, right? Better to go down swinging than hiding, I said, thinking of Tegan's smirk. Besides, sometimes you need to break something completely to build it back stronger. Tech startup Phoenix rises. How one company's crisis led to innovation. I stared at the Wall Street Journal headline, still not quite believing it. Our new AI platform, born from the ashes of the cyber attack, had just been featured in their technology section. Your phone's been buzzing for an hour, Marcus said, dropping a stack of papers on my desk. I think your family finally saw the article. Right on cue, my office door flew open. Bryce strode in wearing a suit that probably cost more than my first car. Cuz, why didn't you tell me things were going so well? He spread his arms wide as if expecting a hug. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. I've been busy, I said coolly, not getting up. And this is a secure floor. How did you get up here? Oh, you know me, I can talk my way into anywhere. He winked, settling uninvited into the chair across from me. Listen, I've been thinking about your company's potential and I have some ideas. Ms. Boyd, my assistant Sarah poked her head in. Mr. Santos is here for your 2 p.m. and Forbes is holding on line 1. Thanks, Sarah. I turned to Bryce. I have meetings all afternoon. You should have made an appointment. An appointment? With my own cousin? He laughed, but his eyes weren't smiling. Come on, Peyton, we're family. Remember who supported you when… When what? I stood up slowly. When you all laughed at me? When Tegan told me to stick to my little marketing job? His face reddened. That was different. We didn't know… Exactly, you didn't know because you didn't bother to find out. I pressed the intercom. Sarah, please escort my cousin out. And update security. No unscheduled family visits. As Bryce was led out, Alejandro entered, raising an eyebrow at the scene. Family trouble. The usual. I sighed, picking up my ringing phone. Now they all want to be best friends. Speaking of friends, he grinned, wait until you see who wants to partner with us. He slid a document across my desk. I gasped at the logo. They want exclusive rights? Better. They want you to lead their new innovation division, full creative control, billion-dollar budget. I sat back, stunned. This is what we wanted, right? The big win. But it feels too easy, like they're getting off too light. I glanced at my phone. 17 missed calls from Tegan alone. Alejandro leaned forward. You know, sometimes the best revenge isn't about making others suffer. It's about succeeding so spectacularly that their opinions become irrelevant. I smiled, picking up the Forbes call. He was right. I didn't need to prove anything to them anymore. I just needed to prove everything to myself. The annual family reunion invitations sat in my inbox like a ticking bomb. This year's host, Tegan, of course. Her message dripped with false sweetness. We're all so excited to hear about your success, sis. You simply must come. You don't have to go, Alejandro said, watching me stare at my screen. We were reviewing quarterly reports in my new corner office, 20 stories above the city. Actually, I do. I closed my laptop. But not for them. The following Saturday, I pulled up to Tegan's McMansion in my new Tesla. Aunt Erin was waiting on the front steps. I wasn't sure you'd come, she said, hugging me tight. They've been talking. When aren't they? Inside, conversations stopped as I entered. Tegan swooped in, camera-ready smile in place. Everyone, look who finally decided to join us. She air-kissed my cheek. Love the dress. Prada? Thanks. Your company's stock is doing well, I replied sweetly. Up 2 points since you started following our market recommendations. Her smile flickered. Bryce materialized beside us, champagne in hand. Peyton, I've been meaning to discuss that proposal I sent. The one my assistant returned unopened. Yes, I got the angry voicemail. More family members circled, all wearing the same hungry expression. Uncle Rob bragged about his startup idea. Cousin Amy mentioned her daughter's tech internship applications. Even Mom hinted about retirement investments. Everyone, dinner's ready, Tegan announced, steering the crowd toward her massive dining room. I took my old spot at the far end, the Black Sheep's traditional place. Aunt Erin sat beside me, squeezing my hand under the table. Before we eat, Tegan stood, raising her glass. I'd like to toast my baby sister. Who knew all those crazy dreams would actually amount to something? Nervous laughter rippled around the table. Yes, who knew? I stood slowly. It's amazing what can happen when you ignore people who tell you you're not good enough. The room went silent. Peyton, Mom started, but I wasn't finished. I got an interesting call yesterday. The Women's Business Foundation wants to partner with my company. We're creating a fund for female entrepreneurs who need support. I smiled directly at Tegan. For women whose families don't believe in them. Bryce choked on his wine. But what about family investments? Surely you'll... I think, I cut in, my family has invested quite enough in me already. Their doubt was all the motivation I needed. I raised my glass. To believing in yourself, even when no one else does. Aunt Erin clinked her glass against mine, tears in her eyes. Around the table, faces shifted between shock, anger, and dawning realization. The silence was deafening. And absolutely perfect. The silence lasted exactly 12 seconds before Tegan's fork clattered against her plate. You can't be serious, she sputtered. After everything this family has done for you. Done for me? I set my glass down carefully. Let's talk about what this family has done for me. I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app. Should we start with the family dinner where you called my idea delusional? Or maybe the Christmas party where Bryce told everyone I was playing entrepreneur? That's not fair, Bryce protested. We were just concerned. Concerned? I laughed. Is that what you call those mocking texts? The whispered conversations about poor, misguided Peyton? Mom stood up, hands shaking. Sweetheart, we only wanted to protect you from disappointment. No. I kept my voice steady. You wanted to protect yourselves from embarrassment. Heaven forbid the black sheep actually succeed at something. Now you're just being vindictive, Tegan snapped. This fund is clearly meant to spite us. Actually, I pulled out a folder I'd brought, sliding it across the table. These are the application requirements for the Women's Business Foundation Fund. You'll notice family connections are explicitly excluded from consideration. Bryce grabbed the papers, scanning them frantically. This is ridiculous. We're blood. Blood. I stood up, pushing my chair back. Blood didn't believe in me. Blood didn't support me. Blood didn't even bother to ask if I needed help when Comptech attacked our servers. Several faces paled at that. The attack had made headlines. But you know who did help, I continued. Strangers. Investors who saw potential instead of past failures. Women who'd been dismissed by their own families, just like me. Aunt Erin cleared her throat. I'd like to volunteer. On the selection committee for the fund. Tegan whirled on her. You're taking her side? There shouldn't be sides in family, Erin said quietly. But yes, I am. I reached into my bag one last time, pulling out a stack of envelopes. These are donations, made in each of your names, to the fund. Consider it my way of thanking you for teaching me exactly what kind of person I didn't want to become. You ungrateful little... Tegan started, but Mum cut her off. We were wrong, she whispered. I was wrong? Yes, I said simply. You were. I walked to the door, pausing only to hug Aunt Erin. Behind me, I could hear the rustle of papers as they opened their envelopes, followed by sharp intakes of breath at the amounts. Peyton? Bryce called out, his voice desperate. You can't just leave like this. I turned back one last time. Actually, I can. And I am. But don't worry, you'll all get invitations to the fund's launch gala. It's being covered by Forbes. The door closed behind me with a satisfying click. The Women's Business Foundation launch gala buzzed with energy. Hundreds of entrepreneurs, investors, and media filled the hotel ballroom, all here to witness something new. Ready? Alejandro appeared at my elbow, offering a glass of champagne. Born ready. I smoothed my dress, catching my reflection in a nearby mirror. I barely recognized the confident woman staring back. The stage manager signaled, 2 minutes until my speech. Through the crowd, I spotted Aunt Erin chatting with our first group of fund recipients. She'd turned out to be an incredible mentor for them. Your family's here, Alejandro murmured. Back corner. I nodded, having already noticed them slipping in. Tegan, Bryce, Mom, all dressed to impress, all looking uncomfortable. They hadn't RSVP'd, but I'd kept their seats reserved anyway. The lights dimmed. My cue. Good evening, I began, stepping up to the podium. Someone once told me to stick to what I knew, to stay in my lane. Tonight we're creating new lanes. The room fell silent. This fund isn't about revenge or proving people wrong. It's about proving people right, the ones who believe in themselves when no one else does. I gestured to our first recipients. These women were all told no by someone who should have said yes. Tonight, we're saying yes. To all of them. Movement caught my eye. Mom was wiping tears away. Success isn't about proving others wrong, I continued. It's about proving yourself right. And sometimes, the people who doubted you the most end up teaching you the best lessons. I raised my glass. To new beginnings, second chances, and the courage to believe in yourself, even when it feels like you're standing alone. The applause was deafening. As I stepped down, Aunt Erin rushed forward to hug me. They're leaving, she whispered. I turned to see my family heading for the exit, but Mom stopped, turned back. Our eyes met across the room. She mouthed 2 words. I'm sorry. I nodded once, acknowledging what must have cost her pride to admit. She managed a small smile before following the others out. You okay? Alejandro asked softly. Actually, yes. I watched the doors close behind them. For the first time, I don't need their approval. Or their regret. Ms. Boyd? A young woman approached, clutching a business plan. Your story inspired me to apply for next year's fund. Would you mind? I'd love to hear your idea, I said, gesturing to a nearby table. Tell me everything. As she began speaking, her eyes shining with the same fire I'd once had, I realized something. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about helping others rise above.